But when God breathes upon his children, it changes our identity. It so totally changes our identity, my friends. We are not the same person after a grace encounter with God. You know, this is a challenging moment for many of you whenever you became a follower of Jesus. If you could remember, because you find yourself in this fresh and brand new and exciting place where you're not who you were, but you sure know that you're not who you're going to be. And sometimes you don't know which person to behave like. You're like you're in the middle. I'm not that person anymore, but I'm trying to become this person, and a crisis or a difficult moment or an unexpected event comes along, and we find ourselves trying to jump between these two identities because we haven't fully realized that being in Christ has changed our identity. For many Christians, it's difficult to let go of our old identity because it's been a source of comfort for so long. And trying to jump back and forth between the two, it will wear you out. You know, there's nobody who understands this like wives. Whenever you married that crazy man that you married, you encountered an identity switch. For some, it became a crisis whenever you took his name. My wife has figured out how to navigate these waters more than anything. What's it like, beloved, when you have an identity switch?
Well, before I met this guy, I was Mindy Davis. When you went to school and the teacher's calling your name, Davis, she has no problems. You raise your hand, say, here, you're going right along. Never had any trouble with my name. First time I heard his name mentioned, I remember where I was, Caldwell Music Hall, going down the stairs, and a friend of mine, she said, I remember her name, Kajina Jones. She said, hey, do you want to go with me and audition for some theater auditions for this drama team? The director, his name is Eric Von, I don't know, something like that, Atzigers or something. And when she said his name, all the ladies in the room can go, because my heart thumped funny. And she didn't even say his name right. But I showed up and I met him and thought, my heart must not have been working. Anyway, but a month later, however, I decided that it was working correctly and something was going on. And a year later, we were engaged. 2 years later, we were married. And all of a sudden, the reality of this name hit me because I had always been a Davis, and it was just no problem. You went everywhere, you were a Davis, nothing. But now, I'm married to this man, and he's called Bon Atzigen, Bon Atzigers, Von Mexican, we've heard. So really just having to kind of figure out how, and then all of a sudden, I'm going up to somebody, or on the phone's the worst, but I go up and they're like, what's your name? Mindy Von Atzigen. And for the first time in my life, people are like, huh? What? Spell that. And I'm like, hang on. So, little V. No, it is a little V. It is a little V. It's a little V, O-N space, capital A, T as in Tom, Z as in zebra, I-G-E-N. See, I've done this a few times now. I know how to do it, especially on the phone. But there are times, we hadn't been married very long when I realized this is a pain. They're losing my prescriptions. They're losing my photos at the photo lab. They can't file it right. It's in the V's. It's in the A's. They don't know. They just see a Z in it, and they chunk it because they think it's too confusing. And then there are those days you just want to call and order a pizza and go, Mindy Davis. You're just too tired to fight with the pizza lady over your name. You know what I mean? But I made a decision because, those times when they would say, your name, please, and everything in you just wants to say, I'm Mindy Davis. But then I would remember him. Wow. And Mindy Davis doesn't correctly identify me because I am part of him now, and I have taken his name. And this is the man who yesterday, yes, he worked hard for me because I was going to refinish our dining room furniture in a lovely farmhouse red that was beautiful. And we are now the proud owners of some hot pink furniture. And it is this man who just said, honey, living life with you is an adventure. And I'll eat on pink furniture for however long. Or if this was all a plot to get new dining room furniture, you can have it. And it's this man that I want to be identified with. So in those moments when it would be easier to say, I'm Mindy Davis, instead I say, little v, O-N, space, capital A, T as in Tom, Z as in zebra, I-G-E-N.
Hey. You see, the name may be difficult, but the guy who came with it is dynamite. When God breathes into your life, it brings a change in identity. And the identity change is difficult. And there are times that you just want to be old, unsaved, non-Christian. It's like, let me take off the Christian clothes and deal with this the way it needs to be dealt with. But that's the moment when you realize that the God who came with my new identity is dynamite. And you don't have to switch back and forth between identities because he's worth it. My friends, he is worth it. A second truth that we read